Okay, I hope everybody's doing well, starting the new year off right, aren't losing too much money on the stock market, aren't expecting an increase to your IRA deductions, not hiding documents in your garage. A while back I mentioned I was going to do full figure as the next video series. So I'm going to take it a step at a time. We're going to start off with the head. We're going to move on to the body. We're going to make a small bust just to get you softened up a little bit before we move on to the full body. And then we're just gradually going to go a little farther each time. But this way it should cover the whole gamut of how I produce a carving. This is not a lesson in how to wood carve anything. These will be lessons in how to carve the way I carve. So if you have a particular way you want to carve, that's fine. You go ahead and follow on. You might learn something. You might also learn something that you don't want to know and you can forget about. We'll just see what happens. So anyway, I was sitting down Tuesday at our little wood carving group, whittling on this. Didn't have much to do, so I just decided I think I'll do another head. So I started doing. I love doing Native Americans because they're so colorful and there's so much character to them. Especially, I like to do Plains Indians, the Sioux tribe, Cheyenne tribe, Arapaho, Comanche, those tribes right down through the middle of America. So anyway, I got this far and then I stopped and I said, well, you know, this would be a good place to start, just about here. We'll just start doing the head. So what I'm going to do this video right now is to show you how I got this far, okay? So first, you're going to need a piece of wood. So this is a 3-inch piece of basswood. Let me get my tape measure out just to make sure I'm correct. Yep, 3-inch piece of square basswood from Heineke Basswood up north of Oklahoma. And Judy says the fan on the fireplace over there, fire stove, is too loud, so I'm going to go shut it off. Okay, it's down in the 20s this morning, so I came down earlier and built a nice fire in the wood stove over there, so now it gets a little hot in here. So anyway, like I say, this is the 3x3 piece of basswood. I bought it a couple years ago at the Dayton Carving Show up in Ohio. Sure wish those things were still going on, but they're not. But anyway, I bought it up there and it cost me $8.25. Now, probably the price, I would assume, has gone up a little since then, like everything else. But anyway, you can't find better basswood than this. It's clear, it's just grain straight. It's just good basswood. Anyway, here's my little pattern that I use for the figure I'm going to carve, or right at the moment. It's 4.5 inches tall. That's a pretty long neck. You don't need one that long. This one here is a lot shorter than that. By 2 3/4 inches wide. So we'll just lay that on the thing here, like that. Get me a pencil, draw the outline of it. Now this pattern is generic. I use it for cowboys, Indians, whatever. I don't need that long a neck, so I'm going to cut it off about right there. Okay? And then I'm going to take this over and cut it out on the bandsaw. Okay, over here on the bandsaw. Now, I've gone through this a lot on other videos, but I'll go through it again. This is a bandsaw I've been using since the 70s. Good bandsaw. Unfortunately, Sears stopped making good equipment, and actually, so I don't think Sears makes equipment at all anymore. The Craftsman series of tools has moved to Lowe's, I believe. So anyway, it's a good bandsaw. If you see one out there, well, I'd grab one because you can't beat this size. All right, on the blade, this is a 3/16 inch skip tooth blade. See, it's missing a tooth there between each two teeth. It's missing a tooth, which means it cuts a lot faster than a regular blade. Doesn't leave a clean cut like a regular blade does, but I'm not interested in that. I'm going to carve all that away anyway. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this outline on here. See how easily that made that turn? That little blade will be the only blade you'll ever need. Now you're probably saying, why didn't he cut all the way through? Well, I went a little too far here. I wish I'd left that on there. But anyway, I don't want to lose the squareness of this block in case I want to do something else in cutting out this blank, which I do want to do. So now this is too wide. So get my tape measure out here again. I'm going to cut it down to about 2 3/4 inches, which is about right there. Now, this is left over. All you got to do is drill a hole in up there and hang that on the wall, and you've got a pattern for your next head, be it a cowboy or an Indian. So we'll just set that aside. Okay, now I can take these pieces off because I don't really need them anymore. But when you're making a multi-shaped piece, remember to leave these things hanging on there because that allows you to move it around any way you want to, almost, and you always have a square, flat surface that's the most safe surface when you're cutting something available to you. And when you're finished sawing out your blank, it's just an easy job to peel these things off, except for that one right there. But anyway, the reason that's hanging on there is because of the grain. Alrighty, looks like he's got a little beanie on there. So right now I can lay this down. I can take out and cut out my neck right here. Now what I do here, the next step, what I do, is something that I've always done because I'm very familiar with my bandsaw. I've been doing this for over 45 years, so I have confidence in myself that I can do the next step. If you don't think you can, don't do it. But if you think you can, well, you can try it, just be careful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shave off a little piece of wood here, and I'm holding this thing, and you have to hold it really tight with both hands as you do this, or else that blade's going to grab it and pull it in like that, and it's going to pull your hand in with it. So you have to be very careful. So I'm going to raise my guide up a little here. I'm going to tip that, just looking at it. right there, see, I've kind of indicated the shape of the head already just here at the saw. It's saving me a little bit of time and effort over there when I get ready to carve. There, I evened it up a little bit. Okay, so now we'll head back over to the workbench. Okay, back over here. All right, I got my blank cut out. So the next thing is I got to get ready to carve. And how do I do that? Well, first thing I do is put on my glove. Everybody, as far as I'm concerned, if I was sitting down or you were sitting down next to me and you didn't have one of these, I wouldn't let you carve because I don't want to be next to you. I don't want to have to drive you to the emergency ward because you sliced yourself real bad. And I've seen it happen before, and I know some guys seem to be real comfortable carving without these gloves. I just, it's just something I just can't understand. Why not wear one? It's not going to hurt you to wear this glove, but it can really save you some grief. I even reinforce my fingers, the important fingers here, to protect me that much more. And you can see how these things here are worn by my whittling. You can imagine the shape of my fingers if I continued to carve like that without this glove on. And I wear this one here on this thumb. And look what happens to it. There's about a gazillion thicknesses of this vet tape. I don't think this is really vet tape. I think this is actually surgical tape. And it sticks to itself. Hang on here a minute, I'll show you. Where is it? It's here somewhere. There it is. You can buy this on Amazon. This is going to last a lifetime, I tell you. I've got this. I've given a lot of it away already to other carvers, to save them from buying, because it lasts a long time. And anyway, don't go out and buy that vet tape. It's not that protective, but this stuff is. Your blade, as long as you put a lot of thicknesses on it, your blade will literally bounce off of that. It might cut through the top layer, but it won't go much deeper than that. And if it does, I'll stop and either make me a new thumb guard, or I'll wind some more of this stuff around it. And I'll give you another hint. Here's my previous glove. Look how out of shape it is. I had to finally break down and buy a new one. But you can see, wrapping this tape around these two fingers, look at those. There's no wear on them whatsoever. But there is right in here, you can see where it's worn down with just my holding the block I'm working on. But these two fingers, this tape here, protected those. And that's good. But another thing you can do, which a friend of mine told me about, is you can get a pair of scissors after you do this with the old glove, hopefully, or to be really safe, buy two gloves and do it with the second one, and cut right across there. That's what I did here. See, I've got one inside here. So I put that on, and then I wrap that with this tape for even more protection. So I'm not going to cut my thumb. I'm just not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So anyway, I think that's a good tip, safety tip. You can quote me on that. So where I am now. So anyway, now I'm protected, all right? The next thing is to get you a good knife, and this is what I use. Use these things for 40, 50 years. They're sharp, You can, once you chuck in a new blade, you can take it over to a buffing wheel or a strop and strop it down. It's got a little factory burr there on the edge of it, and really make it sharp. You can see this one is extremely sharp. They just fly through wood. I always keep an extra knife around to make turns, because this blade is so wide, you can't make a turn. But with this little knife here, I can come in and make a real quick turn like that. A good friend gave me this knife, and it has OK on there, and that stands for Oklahoma. I think that's pretty slick. So anyway, try one of these. You can see, like everybody else, I've got tons of other things up here. All these knives, friends have given me these. And I use them occasionally, not often, but I do use them. And I have all my assortment of chisels and stuff laying out here. Again, I use them occasionally, but not that often. I use this one 90% of the time, and sometimes I use this one 10% of the time. Sometimes even less than that, but I use this one a lot. Okay, where are we? All right, we want to replicate that. So, let's start. Another tip, hold that carving and this glove right up against your chest. That locks it in place. So that carving can't move. You know, if you hold it out here, it's going to flop around out there. It's not secure. So keep it up against your chest. And I like to carve all the saw marks off first. Give me a clean, it's like priming your canvas. Gives you a clean surface to work with. Okay? So I'll do that here, and we'll come back in a minute after I get this done. Okay, I've got it just about where I want it. And like I say, the reason I like the little knife, other than this one here, is making this turn in here. You can make a turn here where you could just never do it with this thing because the blade is just too wide. All right, so I've got it cleaned up here. So the next step is to start giving the head a little shape, and I'm going to start back here by taking a few cuts out of here. Just to help me out. There. Now you'll notice something when you're carving, that one side of the wood splits where the other side of the wood doesn't. That's because of the grain. You can see the grain structure coming through like here. See it? All these lines, that's your grain. And that has a lot to do with the strokes you take. If you're carving and you see that splitting off like that, not necessarily back here, but especially when you get into fine details, remember to stop and turn your figure around, and then that won't happen. But it'll happen over here if you try to do it. You have to imagine that there's a dividing line that comes right down through your piece. One side comes off this way, and the other side comes off that way. That's just a rule of nature, and it happens here too. One side comes off that way, and the other side will go that way. You can't control it. That's the way this piece of wood is. You just have to learn to take that thing into consideration when you're whittling. Carving, not whittling. You know what you're doing. Whittling's when you don't know what you're doing. You're just wasting time. So anyway, I've got that blanked out. So now what we're going to do is take off the top. I could probably do that over there on the bandsaw, but I'll just do it here. And as you're doing this part, remember, in Native Americans, I always try to say Indians, but I guess the political way of saying it is Native Americans, have different hairstyles. So depending on the hairstyle you want to reproduce, you might have to make taking off the top of the head a little different, but we're going to keep it simple. We're going to just round it over like that. All right? So there, it's starting to look pretty good now, huh? So now we can take off some down here. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty on facial structure. And I want to show you something now. I went to Google and I typed in Sioux facial features. Sioux Indian facial features up there in the top. And I came up with this page here. This is an image search, okay, of Siouan facial features. All kinds of them in here, of how they differ from other tribes. If you want, see, you can look at different tribes in here. Where was that one? Let me find it here. Here it is. This shows you the different tribes: Pueblo, Apache, Northern tribes, Plains Indians. Well, we're interested in Plains Indians. So that's what this page is here. You can see the Plains Indians have strong features, strong cheekbones. They're just unique, all right? And that's what you want to, if you're going to carve like I do, although I carve caricatures, I try to stay factual, if at all possible, even though I might carve a caricature. And another thing that I never do is try to do something and make fun of it. I'm just not going to do that. You got to show respect, especially nowadays, or you're going to get called out of it, or called on it immediately if you go trying to make someone look stupid, especially an ethnic person. Just don't do it. I don't do it. I have respect for Native Americans, a great deal of respect. So anyway, that's one way to find out about, help you with research when you're looking for a certain type to carve, all right? And I've used this in the past to help, you know. See, you got strong cheekbones. This is Red Cloud, I believe, and this is, well, I thought I had Sitting Bull on here, but I don't. But anyway, you can see here the type of feature that I really like to carve. Strong cheekbones, strong jaw, just good. I love it. Okay, let's suit up again. I'm sorry if I talk a lot, but that's just the way I am. I can't remember if I was young and everybody said, "Don't be so mouthy, Dodie." Probably did. But something, if you look at my videos, you just have to put up with. I ain't apologizing for it. Okay, we got the top done. We can actually start taking out a little more here. See if we can't get some more shape in there. I'm going to leave these little knobs on here because they'll come in real important when you go to put braids on this figure. Sorry that I moved this carving all over the place, but I have to look at it as I'm doing it. Okay, can you see the shape starting to come? See it? All right. I'm going to draw a hairline along there. Making sure they match up on each side. So that one needs to move over. And then this will come down here and it'll have a little dip in there for the ear. What goes behind the ear. You're not going to see the ear, but this helps indicate that there is one there. Like that. But first, I'm going to take a chip out here. And over here. See, those eyes are coming along. There they are. They're right there. You've just established that. You've established the hair. Now we're going to work on getting the jaw. So right here I'm carving a line straight across. Down the other side. Just like that. Don't leave too much hair up here on top. See on these drawings here? See, there's not much hair up there. There's the two bulbs. Get that off of there. Right there. And there, see them? They'll be on each side here. You can almost see them here. But you can definitely see them here and here. All right. Okay. Now look in here again. Sorry to jump back and forth. This is what we're looking for right now. We're going to carve this to get this indentation on his jaw. So that happens about right in the middle of the head. See those lines? So starting back here, we're just going to take a chip out there. When you're doing this, try to be as aggressive as I am. I've been doing this a long time, and I have confidence mostly. Sometimes I have too much confidence, but anyway. also getting old. I've lost a lot of strength in my thumb. I guess it's arthritis or whatever it is. It's just not as comfortable carving it as it used to be. It's hell getting old. And make sure you get your sides even. And I have a tendency, as you might see, of one side of the face will be more narrow than the other side. It's just natural the way I carve. I don't know why it's like that. I don't try to do it that way. Okay, see there? We've got that jaw. Now what we want to do, you can't really see it here, but we want to come up like that. Take that out. There. See, and this is my bad side. I just don't have any strength over here to get that. I think it's really important when you sit down to carve is to make sure you have a good understanding of what you're carving. Don't just sit down blindly and do it. Learn about your subject. And it'll make your job a lot easier. There, see how this side is thinner than this side over here? I guess it's just the way I see things. Maybe it's that right brain, left brain thing. I don't know what it is, but anyway, you can see where the nose is shifted over that way. So I'm going to move it back to the center. There. So how are we doing here? Similar, but different. That's what you want. Every character, it should be different. If you try to sit here, and if I tried to sit here and tried to reproduce this exactly as it is right now, I couldn't do it. So I'm not trying to do it. So now what do we want to do? Well, we want to block out the nose. That's the next. So I'm going to draw a line right across there. Take a few chips off here. And as you're doing that, leave this chin alone. You want that chin. There's several things going to happen down here where you need that material. Put a little curve on that one right there. Okay. And we can curve that right on up a little. Just work your way up like that. Just take it easy. Don't jump ahead too much. Or get one up there. As you're looking down on it, you want to get those eye planes where they're exactly the same. Trying to keep everything clean so that you can see it. Look at that. Character shows up. I always say that when you're carving, that piece of wood's going to show you something. And it wants you to do something. And it's best if you do it. Follow what this piece of wood is telling you. See that expression on his face? I can see it. See how his eyebrow is higher than this one over here? He's thinking. He's wondering what's going on over there. So we're just going to leave it that way. I'm going to amplify it. It's a little early to do it, but I'm going to do it. That one's going up. And this one's coming down. We can make this one come down even more. See, that expression is showing up all by itself. You're just helping it along. That's what's fun about wood carving. I'm starting to sound like Bob Ross. And a happy little accident. Funny. Now, to me, there's too much hair here, so I'm going to cut that down. Just going to put a little curve of that in there. On each side, we're starting to probably run out of time. We've been talking so much. 40 minutes. A little time left. And I'm going to give him a part in the middle of his head. Starting to look like Jesus. So that means we're definitely right on the right track. Okay, what can we do? Well, we can round these off a little. Now right there, see that ridge right across there? It's also showing you right there. There's something right there, so we're going to follow that ridge right there and take some off of here. We're going to take a little dip right here. See that right there? And that's going to happen about right there. Judy's shaking her head because I'm jerking this carving all over the place. I'll hear about it later. Clean that up right there. So let's see how we're doing here. Well, here we got to do the ear thing here. The reason I carve this out here is because I like to give my Indians earrings. A nice detail. Okay. Now, like I say, each Indian that I do is different from the last one. See here, these two guys are similar, but they're not the same. They're different. They're going to be a different character. Again, they're similar, but they're not the same. So I think we've reached the point that where these guys are pretty much at the same stage of carving. Just deepening the eye sockets. Not sockets, but shape of the skull. Always along. What you call a horse face, long nose. Okay, so we're going to stop the video right here because in the next one we'll start putting details on the character. Okay, so until the next one, I'll talk to you later.